So now we got a whole slew of Division news. We have a new Resident Evil Peril event, which we have some thoughts on, and also Ubisoft Massive is making a open world Star Wars game. So that got Kuma and I wondering what the future of Division 2 and more importantly the series, like what's in store for it, or is it on hold until the Star Wars game is out, and we'll just talk about it. So what do you think about all this so far, Kuma? Like the future of this series?
Well, it's good for the company to work on a new project. It's good for Massive, as a developer. But it's kind of bad for the community for Division because it will take a lot of the resources and they cannot work on two games at once. They had to take a lot of the whole team, and it will be like a skeleton team. Will be staying with Division just to fix bugs. It will not be giving us any big updates, anything cool or
Probably no new
exciting. Like,
expansions or anything, or new
uh,
games like a
that's
Division
why.
3.
Uh-huh. So that's why the new content is just apparel. Well, working with the Resident Evil title.
Okay, let's talk about that real quick. Now that event, I thought it would be more than just for clothes, and it's seriously disappointing that it's only to unlock like clothes of Resident Evil characters, because I think they could have done so much more with that event and brought more people back. Like, you know how you kept talking about you always wanted them to bring back the horde mode from Division 1, and I think that would have been the absolute perfect event because you could do things like fighting off zombies for an event or fighting off, different Resident Evil monsters, and it would work really well in that universe, I think.
Yeah, I agree too. I totally agree. A lot of the equipment if you think about it that Division used could apply to the Resident Evil universe, you
Right.
know? Uh-huh. And these tanky enemies could be the zombies.
Yeah, and it would make sense. Like you have all these bullet spongy enemies, but then you could start facing off things like tyrants, Mr. X, those like really bullet spongy enemies. If you've ever played those Resident Evil games, like you could shoot at them with hundreds of bullets and they won't just shrug it off. They don't care.
Mm-hmm.
So it would fit this, looter shooter aspect really well
Mm-hmm.
because of how bullet spongy everything is.
And I feel like they could if they like just do a little bit, not too much work, just a little bit, like change their appearances and just like a global event, like these special things you have to do. You can't get too close or whatever, or to give you like a debuff or buff. They could easily apply this to this Resident Evil collab. I don't know why they didn't go forward with it and just stuck with the apparel.
To me, it speaks a lot about this series in general, and it confirms what I thought about it in the first place is they have a lot of interesting ideas. It's just not implemented or executed well, really, for the most part. Like there's this interesting premise in even in Division 1 where, how they spread the virus, and then you have this whole situation where this bunch of sleeper agents in the division just wake up and then they start trying to rebuild the government. But I never feel like the developers fully, you know, capitalized on how interesting idea it could have been. And this event speaks true to like they almost reached there. They have a cool idea, but they just never do anything really cool with it. They could have done so much more is what I'm saying.
Yeah, I totally agree. They should have followed through completely. They should have talked to the Capcom team and passed ideas around to see what their current um snowdrop system could handle and what it could do with some tweaking. They just like dropped the whole ball. I feel like they just really did brought over the whole massive team to work on the new Star Wars project.
Feels like I think that's definitely going to be the priority. This is probably going to be the situation Division 1 was for Division 2 where They'll have some updates, like you said, to fix bug fixes and such. They'll keep it alive, but that's about it. There's not going to be anything really new. No new
Yeah.
expansions, no like big events that are just going to try to bring everyone back. Basically, just to, for lack of better words, is just to keep it on life support.
It's really sad because like we assume that we're gonna have another like another Ray Light event because only two has been released, and in Division One it was at least 5 or 6 of them, if I remember correctly. We played like 3 of them just by ourselves, and we didn't finish them all. And Division Twos only have 2, which is like really sad. Like the amount of big events.
Yeah. It could have been throughout this whole Division 2 like journey that we've played through. It had a promising start. Everyone was hyped about it. We were hyped about it. We were just like, this is really good. The shooting is fantastic. The graphics are, there's a lot. It's firing on a lot of cylinders, but just feels half baked still. I was hoping by this point that they would, bring back more people or get new people, but it doesn't feel like it. It feels, and also the season system, it's interesting the first time or two at most when you do it, but after it's the same thing you do, which is highly repetitive. You do the same things, they're the same control points, fight different bosses, and they have some different mechanics. But the bottom line is you're still going to the same locations and you're still fighting the same enemies. So I
Yeah,
was
I
hoping more
agree.
about this point, and Warlords is not the 1.8 update that I was expecting from Division 1. Because Division 1 1.8 update was huge. But Warlords came and went. Felt like nobody was talking about it really.
Um, I think maybe because it's not that replayable. That's maybe that could be
Could
that
be.
because like it took us what 10 hours to beat the whole DLC.
Feel like 8 to 10, yeah, around that, yeah.
And the summit, the skyscraper, is the equivalent of the horde mode from 1.8, but it wasn't as fun because they don't keep coming and coming. It's not as expansive. This one is like you finish the floor and you go up. It's like there's a pause and
Yeah.
excitement. There's no adrenaline to keep you going.
You're constantly stop going. Stop go,
Yeah.
stop go.
Mm-hmm. And so that kind of like breaks the immersion, in my opinion. And
It
there's like no
also
strategy by clearing a floor. I don't think it was a strategy. But in the horror mode, this was a strategy. You got to pick a location. You need to think of what things to unlock to help you progress through the horror mode.
think there's some strategy. I think they were trying to do it with when they eventually were adding, different modifiers. So
Okay.
you'd have to change up your strategy a little bit, but it didn't feel like it was actively encouraging me to do it. I was basically doing the same thing over and over. Slightly
Yeah.
changing, like maybe changing out one skill or two, but I'm still doing the same kind of thing.
Yeah.
And that's about it. Um,
Mhm.
yeah, the summit or skyscraper, we want to call it. Skyscrapers still sounds better.
Yeah.
It's this is pretty disappointing, I must say. Is
It's nice to have. It's
It's
nice to
nice to
have.
have, but it's not something that we wanted to actively replay, Like replay starting back from floor 1.
Yeah, I got pretty bored. Like, like, like less than like a quarter way. I got bored already, trying to climb it. It wasn't that fun anymore.
That's just what I mean about just like in general about Division 2 and speaking about Division 3 if there even is one. It's just Division 2 is highly repetitive when you think about it, but there's not much incentive to keep, farming the same areas
Hmm.
because I found the build diversity throughout the whole of Division 2 to be very underwhelming. I was basically doing gun builds or maybe one or two skill builds, and that was it.
Yeah. I mean, they definitely improved since the first month of the game.
Oh yeah.
They did improve, but it's still not enough for it to be something that like return players will come back to the new season just to grind out.
No, I don't think it's going to bring people back. This season where it's just like add a new exotic or buff up some different sets, and well, sometimes it worked, and I was like, I tried new builds and I was like, this is fun. I want to sink some more time into it, but
Yeah.
it wasn't enough.
Nope. So well, I'm thinking that I will keep saying again and again, a really good way for them to bring back all the players and is to combine Division 1 and 2 together. The maps, like auto contents into one, like how Path of Exile did it.
Or is going to, yeah. They
That's
don't
that's the
change
only
that
way.
idea.
That way, it has way more variety. Like different maps and different things. It has snow again, and then they have back the fucking survival mode that people really enjoy.
This is the best mode of Division 1 by far.
Yeah, that's what they need to do, and they just need to copy Diablo more. Just gotta copy them a little bit more.
What do you mean copy
They,
them? Like in what
like
part?
uh, every new season they throw out different gears, but for
Okay.
every class. So I know that we have like classes in division, like
Yeah, the
like the
specializations.
those are the classes. So throw out some new gear just for those classes that change up everything, like how Diablo does it, and that way people will definitely come back. Because that's what Diablo does. They don't really change up like the areas and stuff like that.
No, you do the
You
same thing. You do greater rifts, that kind of stuff, bounties.
know?
It's the same thing every season. But the thing is that I think a lot of looter games fail to do is make the loot and builds interesting each season.
Mhm.
So it changes it up. I think Diablo 3 still is one of the best games for that. Even like it's crazy because I just came back to Diablo 3 like a few weeks ago and I started playing a different, class with a completely different build I never tried. It was a lot of fun because they're always, buffing and doing different sets, but I like that when you have those different sets or different, like unique weapons or items, you could be using a totally different skill that changes how it normally functions. So something that I wished in Division was like you had those same kind of things. So say like there was an item that buffed up your drone. So maybe it gains a new ability or something like that to completely change how it functions. So things like that, I don't know. It could have been interesting.
Mm.
I just feel like
Yeah.
there wasn't enough creativity or they weren't, I don't want to say they weren't trying hard enough, but it just feels like again, they could have done so much more, but it feels like they weren't doing the most they could, which is a missed opportunity because now that the Massive is going to be making the next Star Wars game, it's open world. I don't have a lot of hopes we'll see any new Division anything in the foreseeable future, but what do you think?
Well, I'm also leaning towards your sentiments as well. I don't think Division gonna have anything new or exciting because of Star Wars. But uh I'm not angry at Massive. They gotta take
Oh,
up
I'm not
new
angry at them. That's a huge
yeah.
win for them.
Mm-hmm. So maybe they get more attention, more money. Maybe they could like focus on two games. Who knows? But Star Wars needs to be successful for Division to even have a chance. That's my thoughts on it.
Why do you say that?
because if Massive fail at Star Wars, maybe the whole developing team might be closed down, and we
Maybe.
won't get shit.
I also think if it does well, it'll give Massive a good amount of recognition among the gaming community, and just a bunch of people are just like, oh, I made this really good game. Maybe I should check out the other games. Maybe you
Yeah,
should check out Division.
that could happen.
So it's a two-way street. It could happen, and maybe it'll give more support so they do even better with Division 3. You know, that's me being optimistic, but I don't want this series to die, even though they've squandered all their opportunities to make it even better than, like, you know, Destiny or anything other looter shooters. I just, you know, the shooting is top notch. I still think it's one of the best, you know, like feels of shooting gaming. I would like to see a Division 3 eventually, or, you know, combine Division 1 and 2 eventually. Just I'm not expecting that to happen for the next 2 years at this point. And you know what? Maybe it is a good time to take a break from it for them. Just do something else. Maybe they could get some new ideas. Or like, oh, we did something really cool in Star Wars or something. You know, made some new mechanic. But what if we put this in like Division to add new things and like breathe new life into it? The series, because I feel like it's gotten pretty stagnant. Division, at least.
Makes sense. Makes sense.
I just want it to do well, but at this point, I'm not holding my breath for anything new for Division. And maybe that's okay right now. Maybe we all need a break from it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's our thoughts on Vision. I hope it does well, but see if they announce a new expansion or anything.